Douglas Hernley. I'm a founder of Carry Payments, a business in the education space helping parents pay schools and schools collect money from parents.
My name is Hema Valab. I am an engineer turned entrepreneur, now turned investor, and I have worked in the gender parity space for the better part of the last 2 decades.
My name is Sam Emmanuel, from Nigeria, which is focused on addressing the problem of youth unemployment by training software engineers and tech entrepreneurs to enable profitable and inclusive economic growth in Africa and beyond.
My name is Sharon Ahmad. I'm the CEO and founder of Recomed. Recomed is Sub-Saharan Africa's largest online healthcare marketplace and booking platform.
I'm Tandwe Figa Khatebe, disibonda ebalisayo for uqwili, and we build smartphones and an operating system for our people.
I guess the best part is that I get to wake up every day and do what I love. You know, I know my why, I know my purpose. I have managed to find the intersection of passion meets purpose meets profit. And for me, that has just been the most fulfilling experience of my life that I get to live every day through my business. The worst experience I've had is that my business is built out of passion and purpose, and something that has really served me personally can sometimes also be received as, you know, oh, this thing you do on the side. I spend a lot of my time explaining to people that just because you are an impact-driven business, just because you are driving a business with, you know, purpose and passion, that doesn't mean we can't talk about profits, about higher returns. There's a socialization that needs to happen that shows people that, you know, you can grow scalable, high returns, commercial businesses, even if there is impact at the core.
I guess best experience of becoming a founder is the opportunity to work on real problems and the acceleration when you meet other people who understand and are willing to contribute in whatever way they can to the actualization of the vision that you have for solving that problem. The worst, I guess, was the initial frustrations around the belief that you're working on something that is a societal problem and the seeming reluctance of society to support. But then as you go along, one of the things I learned was the importance of not playing victim. That if you believed you were working on something that is of importance to society, but you're not getting the support you were hoping for, one, maybe you need to manage your expectations. Two, maybe you need to do a better job of communicating the value and the essence of what you were doing.
I would say that my worst experience was staring down failure time after time when you're at a wall and think your company can't really succeed and can't go any further. And you somehow have to go through that process. But everybody knows that feeling of a morning where it's hard to get out of bed. And I wouldn't wish that feeling on anyone else, but I think it's something all founders understand. The best is the exact opposite of that feeling when I was able to sell my first company and realize that all those late nights and early mornings and difficult mornings were not in vain. It worked.
The first one is build fast, fail quick, right? And the reason why I say that is mainly purely because, you know, when you're trying to do something that's never been done before. The second, you know, big lesson for us is that you really need to get close to the problem. We do these things called user focus groups. And the reason why is because you have this initial hypothesis as to what you think your solution is going to do, what problem it's going to solve. When you try and research as to what that solution is to look like to solve this user's problem, you often, you know, if you have this thesis, you can often be proved wrong that, by that user because their context is completely different to yours, right? The last one is that there's this, specifically when it comes to tech, the possibilities are endless. You know, there's crypto, this, and flying machines that and AI that and, you know, a whole lot of sexy things that sometimes can really push you off track into what you're actually trying to do as a founder.
But when you start to scale businesses, it becomes about people. And managing people or learning how to recruit, manage, and then at times fire people is by far the most difficult component in my experience of building out businesses. On that topic, and number two, one of the huge benefits about being a founder and starting one's business is coming to terms with oneself and looking inward and realizing if a whole bunch of people are going to commit their lives to you, you better do the same to yourself. And I think there's a lot to be gained from deep introspection and self-reflection and learning about yourself as a person and what you can do in order to not just enable others to work for you, but yourself to work for yourself too.
There's no shame in making money from doing good, because the more money you make, the more good you can do. And for me, that fundamentally shifted the way I thought about how I grew my businesses, coming from the social impact space. Ran a nonprofit first and then pivoted to a company, and never have I seen more impact than after I started doing the work through the company.
Close mentor of mine kind of taught me how to be deeply, deeply interested in everyone and anyone, no matter where they're from, what their life paths have been, what their backgrounds are, whether they studied a PhD at Harvard or came from a small community in Luchechat. You can learn so much from almost anyone.
He looks back at me and says, listen, young man, it's not a good use of your time to try and sit there and explain to people why something that has never been done before can be done. It's easier just to go out there and start doing it.
I think that the biggest difference that I would make is I'd be a tougher negotiator at a younger age. A little bit of negotiation can go a long way. We're building probably a 10-year journey of a business, and every contract along that way, particularly when dealing with investors and shareholders, is absolutely crucial to positioning you for future success.
Do I wish the journey was a bit easier? Perhaps. But if it was easier, would I have the conviction that I have today? Maybe not. Would I believe in what I'm doing as deeply as I do? Would I believe I'm this good at what I do? Maybe not.
Is this idea of taking the shackles off and just believing, daring to go for it, that the journey of entrepreneurship is not one of comfort.
Try to help people do something that they really need to do, that they really want to do. And then you won't have an uphill march, you'll have a beautiful downward climb on your journey to entrepreneurial success.
Don't worry, it's never been done before. It's not a good use of your time trying to explain to people and ideate forever as to what it is that problem that you're trying to solve for. Just go and do it.
When I walk into a room, the first thing people should notice is not that I'm female, but, you know, the work I've done or a track record of some sort. That's what should define me, not my gender or any of the other diversity issues that we have beyond gender, coming from Africa, for example, or race, ethnicity.
I know I've got a deep need to do things differently and continue to do so. And that has been part of the journey, and I've had a wild journey because of that basic concept or basic principle.
Is an exponential rate of entrepreneurial activity on the African continent and true innovations that are contributing to the progress of humanity, that is as a result of the contribution, the innovative and entrepreneurial contribution of the Africans that dared to give it a go.
We need to build champions of the frontier and have a society that celebrates these people. And my dream is for that culture to become normal in my country and all over Africa.
My wish is simple. I want prosperity to come to the over 1 billion people on the African continent. And what that looks like is that I want our incomes to make sense so we can actually live for a change. I want our children to be able to have access to education, health. I want our people to be able to prosper.